Good morning. I'm Spot On Weather meteorologist Matthew Euler, and today we're going to take a look at the short range as well as the longer range weather forecasts. I got this nice picture I found, and that pretty much signifies what fall's all about in my opinion. I grew up in the Midwest, and we got beautiful, beautiful change of colors of the leaves in the Midwest, and I know in higher elevations you see this as well. So a lot of yellows and oranges in this particular image. And as we head deeper into fall, I would expect that we're going to see a lot of variability in the temperatures across the Mid-Atlantic, especially in the Southeast Virginia, which happens pretty much every year. So let's go ahead and take a look at things. First thing I want to take a look at in the video is how warm the month of September has been. This data is courtesy of PRISM, the PRISM data, PRISM climate group, and the scale of the temperature departures is on the right-hand side of the image, just showing you where warmer than normal temperatures have occurred through the 27th of September, 27th of this month, and you'll notice a lot of red and orangish colors, and that indicates very well above normal temperatures for this month. The darker the shading, the higher the temperature departure, the greater the temperature departure above normal. The coolest temperatures have been over the Pacific Northwest and over the northern plains, indicated by those bluer shadings, and then the green shadings as well as cooler than normal temperatures. So temperatures have been averaging anywhere across the southeastern U.S. into the mid-Atlantic, have been ranging from 3 to 5 degrees Fahrenheit above normal for the month of September. And so definitely you can see what's going on here for this month. Currently across the area here in Southeast Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic as a whole, we have nothing but clear blue skies outside right now. We have more of a northeasterly wind developing, now more onshore winds developing. The image on the right shows the general wind directions from the north, fairly light at this time, no greater than 10 miles per hour from the north. We do expect the winds to pick up slightly throughout the day today on Sunday, the 29th of September from the northeast. Generally, temperatures in the area this morning as of 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 80 degrees at Norfolk, 73 degrees in Chesapeake, and then 74 degrees at Wakefield. As we move northwest towards Richmond, the air temperature was 75 degrees. The blue number in the lower left-hand corner, that indicates the dew point temperature, so it's still very muggy out there, ranging from 72 degree dew point at Norfolk, 71 at Chesapeake. We have a 68 degree dew point in Wakefield, and then we also have a 70 degree dew point still up at Richmond right now. So it's very, very muggy. It's cool. It's fairly cool. The temperatures are fairly comfortable. It's just the humidity is still out there. Let's go ahead and start talking about the expected weather outlook for the upcoming week. And all images are courtesy of Tropical Tidbits. Great website. Check it out, tropicaltidbits.com. So we're going to start off with the image on the left. Generally, the image on the left and the right match up with today's date, the 29th of September. You can see that most of the rain and the moisture is situated over the Midwestern U.S. They had an amazing amount of rainfall across north central Illinois the other night. This made the news yesterday, where they got 3 to 4 inches of rain over a very short time period, resulting in a lot of flooding, as well as some pretty hefty thunderstorms over the Midwest back on Friday night, the 27th of September. But generally for today, what we're looking at is there's a strong 1034 millibar high, which is situated over southeast Canada, and it is ridging southwestward into the Mid-Atlantic. So our barometric pressure is fairly high this morning, and that's going to result in a mostly dry Sunday across the area, with most of the moisture again remaining confined out towards the Midwestern U.S. If you go further west and northwest from that, over Montana, they are seeing some significant snow, the first significant snow of the season indicated by the blue shading. And they got hit pretty good. Very strong winds as an area of low pressure deepened or intensified over southeast Wyoming. Let's move it ahead now to tomorrow. Now I'm going to show you, for the rest of the forecast images, I'm going to show you the image on the left is going to be generally your thickness chart, your surface to, it's 1,000 to 500 millibar thickness chart on the left. So I'm going to show you what's generally happening at the surface where the rain and the snow is located on the left hand image. On the right, I'm going to show you the 500 millibar geopotential height anomalies, or 500 millibars is basically about 18,000 feet, mid-levels of the atmosphere, and generally what's going on from the surface all the way up to the mid-levels of the atmosphere. So the image on the left for tomorrow, starting off the work week on Monday the 30th of September 2019, there are a few scattered showers back towards West Virginia into parts of eastern Tennessee, western North Carolina, the Asheville area could see a couple showers, but in general high pressure, 1,030 millibar high pressure, again over southeastern Canada. It's ridging down along the east coast down to the mid-Atlantic. So our barometric pressure will be high once again tomorrow. If you look at the image on the right, I'm showing you the mid-level atmosphere, 500 millibar, 18,000 foot height anomalies, which equates to temperatures as well. The orange, actually the reddish maroon shadings indicate above normal heights. The blue shadings indicate below normal heights. This image on the right shows me exactly what's happening in the atmosphere. We got a big expansive upper high, which is situated over the mid-south, and that high is ridging to the northeast into the New England states, mid-Atlantic and New England states. So we got extremely above normal heights in the middle levels of the atmosphere, which equates to above normal temperatures. Just think of things like this. Whenever the atmosphere has higher than normal heights, that means the temperatures are much warmer, because as warmer air moves in, it's much less dense and the atmosphere expands in the vertical. And you've got cool and unsettled weather tomorrow out over the Pacific Northwest once again. Moving ahead to Tuesday, the 1st of October 2019, really not much of a change. Now we are seeing on the left-hand graphic, there's an area of rain from Wisconsin down into Iowa, eastern Nebraska, central Kansas, and that is an association with a cold front. Now that cold front will be a player for our weather late in the week, but it's going to take its time getting here. Why is it going to take its time? Because there's a huge expansive ridge that remains in place across the eastern U.S., and so it's going to take a little bit of time to break that ridge down over the course of the next 5 days. But we're expecting above normal temperatures across southeast Virginia as that upper level ridge remains in place, with the cooler trough remaining out west over the Pacific Northwest. Moving ahead now to Wednesday, the 2nd of October 2019, you'll see that cold front is now situated over northern Illinois, with the rain into northern and central Missouri down to southeastern Kansas. We generally have surface high pressure moving offshore. It's weakening off the coast of South Carolina, and then this ridge over the eastern U.S., the height anomaly map on the right-hand side, that continues to remain in place. We have 591 decameter heights, which are positioned all the way, stretch it all the way from northeastern Texas into southwestern Virginia over the mid-south into Tennessee. And that cooler blue shading there on the right-hand graphic, that's that trough as it continues to move and pivot towards the southeast. But it's taking its time. The ridge at this point is slowly breaking down across the east. But before that ridge breaks down, we get to Thursday, the 3rd of October 2019. Now we have the frontal boundary, the left-hand graphic, stretching from an area of low pressure from eastern Pennsylvania, stretching all the way down through West Virginia, into parts of Kentucky, central Tennessee, Arkansas, into Oklahoma, and into central Texas. We have 1,026 millibar high, which is positioned over south central Canada. And again, over the mid-Atlantic, we're looking at very warm upper level conditions. The ridge is slowly breaking down, but before it breaks down, we are going to be dealing with mid to upper 80s for high temperatures on Thursday before that cold front, the surface cold front, and a change in the mid and upper level patterns occurs. Here's the forecast for Friday, the 4th of October 2019, to end out this next upcoming work week. We do have some lowering thickness values. The image on the left, we're down to 564 decameter thickness. So that basically means that the atmosphere is getting cooler and more dense The surface boundary at this point by Friday afternoon, early afternoon, is passing through the area. Now the models have slowed the timing of the passage of this cold front. They pushed it now from Friday morning into early Friday afternoon. So we're going to have to watch the trend on that, because obviously that's going to have a great bearing on the high temperatures for Friday, the 4th of October. Generally, we got a dip now in the jet stream. The height anomalies, those pinkish colors and the maroon colors have been replaced basically by a whiter color over the mid-Atlantic, over Southeast Virginia, which indicates the heights are fairly normal based on climatology. We do have a ridge now that has bumped up over the central U.S. by Friday the 4th. And we have troughs, cooler temperatures, the blue shadings and troughs situated over New England and over the Pacific Northwest, with that ridge in the central U.S., extending from a upper high, which is positioned over central Texas. Moving ahead now to the first weekend of October next weekend. Beautiful, beautiful weather for the Mid-Atlantic. 1,027 millibar high situated around Lake Huron. Clockwise flow around that high is going to bring in nice, cool northerly winds, northeasterly winds. It's going to result in more seasonable weather, more seasonable temperatures, with highs in the lower 70s in general by next Saturday. So if you're waiting for the fall weather and you're like going outside and you're wondering, geez, when is this heat going to break? Well, there is a sign of the heat finally breaking by next Saturday, the 5th of October. In general, across the United States, fairly dry with the exception of the Dakotas into Nebraska into central Kansas, where you see the green shading. That indicates some rain possibly there. But a great looking weekend next weekend for Southeast Virginia and the Mid-Atlantic. Generally, the height anomalies, they're a little bit higher than normal, with the upper level ridge there from northern Illinois up into lower Michigan into Quebec, Ontario, into southeastern Canada. The coolest, lowest heights and the coolest temperatures with those lowest heights are over Maine, down New Hampshire, Vermont, and Massachusetts, Connecticut. And there's another lobe of lower height anomalies over the southern Canadian prairies, as well as in the northern plains. By Sunday, the 6th of October, we got high pressure situated, 1,023 millibar high pressure situated right in the vicinity of the Virginia Capes, right off the Virginia coast. Beautiful, beautiful weather is the way things look next weekend at this time. Obviously, that could change. We get these little disturbances in the mid-level atmosphere. But as of right now, it looks great next weekend. If you want to go do some of those fall festivals, if you want to go check out and pick out that pumpkin for Halloween, or you just want to get outside and do some fall yard work, it's looking great. Really, really great next weekend for Southeast Virginia. Plenty of sunshine. Seasonable temperatures in the 70s, low to mid 70s by next Sunday. Overnight lows dropping down to upper 50s, 55 to 60 degrees, so looking really good. And across the U.S. next weekend on Sunday, it's looking really good overall. There are a few showers and storms there over Oklahoma into southern Missouri. Another scattered pocket of precipitation up over North Dakota. But overall looking really, really good. Now let's take a look at Teleconnections Forecast, and I go into this extensively in my winter outlook, and it's now time to start considering these. As we head into fall and we get into greater dynamics, the polar front jet stream has shifted further south, we have to start really taking a look at teleconnections and how things change with these teleconnections. Generally for the forecast, I'm showing you the NAO, the North Atlantic Oscillation on the left, and then the Pacific North American pattern on the right. Generally what we're looking at in the longer range, the forecast is for a slightly positive North Atlantic Oscillation to become slightly negative. Nothing significant, but something we'll keep an eye on. It's going to go negative as we get into the first couple weeks of October. The Pacific North American pattern, no surprise, it's sharply negative. It's going to eventually get closer to neutral, the Pacific North American pattern. No surprise with it being sharply negative right now, because with a negative P&A, you're going to get this. The image on the right with that trough and the cooler than normal temperatures in the Pacific Northwest with a ridge in the east. That is not a shocker that it's been strongly negative. So you can see it's slowly getting closer to neutral in the longer range as we head towards mid-October. The Arctic Oscillation, the AO, generally it's going to be slightly positive, it looks like, going into the first week of October. It becomes slightly negative around the middle of the month. And so that's something to keep an eye on, but there's no real sharp changes or intensity to this Arctic oscillation. And then on the right there, I show a picture of the forecast for the Mad-Julian oscillation, which tells you where air is rising and sinking, where you're getting this convection, where air is rising in the equatorial Pacific. And generally what we're looking at is remaining in phase one. We're in phase one, which would indicate warmer than normal temperatures across the eastern U.S. That's generally for September and October. And then I like to throw this in. This is something, again, that I talked about in my winter outlook. The low solar activity. This is courtesy of the NOAA Space Weather Prediction Center. And you can see, now I'm going back on this graph to January of 2008. And this is projecting out to January 2023. The red line at the bottom right of this graphic indicates the predicted values. They're smoothed out, but generally the blue line shows how the values have fluctuated, how they fluctuated up and down over time, over the past, well, going back to January 2008. So 2009, 2010, you start to see a rise, that blue line, the little peak around 2012, early 2012, and then a greater peak, about 80 sunspots. 80 sunspots, that is generally in early 2014. And then you see that blue line make a sharp decline, a sharp drop off down to where we are right now, where our sunspot numbers are generally down less than five sunspots right now. Generally the solar cycle with the sunspots, generally there's an increase in sunspot activity. A peak generally runs in 11-year cycles. But this is a definite bearing. Research again has indicated this has have a definite bearing on the winter outlook. Research has indicated that low solar activity equates to a weakening of the polar vortex, an increase in the frequency of high latitude blocking across the Atlantic into Greenland, as well as a negative NAO. So this is something that's got to be watched closely in the winter outlook. And you can just see that red line at the bottom right part of this graphic showing you as we get towards the end of 2019 into 2020, look at that drop off, very low sunspot numbers, so very low solar activity. Sea surface temperature anomaly update. Generally the reddish colors indicate above normal sea surface temperatures. Generally we have the greatest temperature departures, the warmest sea surface temperatures located over the northeastern Pacific off the U.S. west coast as well as into the Gulf of Alaska. Now there is an area of warmer than normal sea surface temperatures also to the east of Japan out in the West Pacific. Generally in the El Nino region, the 3.4 region, we're looking at some very cool waters. You see in the equatorial eastern Pacific there's some bluer shading there. And that indicates how temperatures are cooler than normal down in the eastern equatorial Pacific. Still expecting, I'm taking a look at the latest Climate Prediction Center forecast, still expecting an El Nino Southern Oscillation, a neutral El Nino Southern Oscillation this upcoming winter. But we'll have to keep a close eye on that because it's not far off from the weak El Nino criteria either. So we'll have to keep a close eye on that. So generally this is what you're looking at for sea surface temperatures. You'll notice the blue shading to the east of the Florida coast. That was due to the very strong hurricanes that moved up the coast. We had Hurricane Dorian, which really caused a lot of what's known as upwelling when there's a lot of wind, generally equating at the surface or blowing the waves around the surface. That results in cooler temperatures moving up to replace that well-mixed water. All right, so let's take a look at the CFS, the Climate Forecast System. Let's take a look at the temperature outlooks and further out in the longer range. Generally 13 to 18 October 2019. By the way, the peachish color, the oranges, those indicate above normal temperatures. These anomalies are in degrees Fahrenheit. If you look at the bottom of the scale, you'll see generally the temperature ranges and how much above or below normal the temperatures are. So the orangish colors indicate above normal temperatures. The bluish color and greenish colors indicate below normal temperatures. So this is Sunday the 13th of October to Friday the 18th of October. Generally we have warmer temperatures across the eastern U.S., slightly above normal. We have mostly cool conditions for the Mississippi River west with the blue shading. Moving ahead now to the 18th to 23 October time period, blue shading takes over from the Central Plains eastward to the East Coast. So you notice we're looking at 1 to 3 degree Fahrenheit temperature departures below normal for a good portion of the eastern U.S. at this point in time, according to the latest CFS outlook. 23 to 28 October, moving ahead as we get closer to the end of the month of October into Halloween time period. Generally, we still have that blue shading across the mid-Atlantic, indicating below normal temperatures. There's a pocket of above normal temperatures, higher than normal temperatures across Nebraska into Wyoming, into parts of Montana and Colorado, out in the Intermountain West area. And then, even looking longer range from that, image on the left, the graphic on the left shows 28 October to 2 November. Image on the right shows the temperature outlook 3 November to 8 November. And generally, you'll notice there's a warming trend. There's above normal temperatures, again, back in the eastern U.S. between the 28th of October and the 2nd of November by the orangish color, the orange shading. And then if you look on the image or the graphic on the right, you see these blue and greens taking over again, where we have much cooler than normal temperatures moving into the eastern Midwest to the eastern U.S. So there's going to be a lot of ups and downs in temperatures. I'm expecting a lot of variability. We are in the fall season now, so this is going to be a lot of ups and downs in temperatures, so I would expect that. Living across southeast Virginia, you're used to it. The morning time, it might be really chilly, and then by afternoon, you don't need a coat at all. So just keep that in mind. So these are my final thoughts for tonight's video, or for today's video. Today, on Sunday, the 29th of September, 2019, we have onshore northeast wind flow, and this is going to result in cooler temperatures as compared to Saturday. Saturday, we got up around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, and it has been a very warm September. So today we're expecting a drop-off with highs into the lower 80s with that cooler northeast onshore wind. We are expecting a cool start to the week as high pressure ridges into the mid-Atlantic. And I do apologize for that. I spelled week wrong. It should be W-E-E-K. But anyway, regardless, we have a cool start to the week as high pressure ridges in the mid-Atlantic. Both Monday and Tuesday continue dry conditions, and it's been so long since we've had some measurable rain across southeast Virginia. Hurricane Dorian's outer rain bands were really the last set of heavier rain we got in the area. But anyway, tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, 30 September and 1 October, we're looking at highs in the middle to upper 70s, which is fairly close to normal for this time of year. We are expecting conditions to turn much warmer and remaining dry on Wednesday as the surface high pressure slides off the coast, return to southwesterly winds. We have that strong upper level ridge in place across the eastern U.S. So highs are going to climb to the middle to upper 80s again Wednesday and Thursday. 10 to 15 degrees above normal for this time of year. So that's some significant warming. We have that expansive upper level ridge that's just parked over the eastern U.S. A very strong upper level high, which is situated over Louisiana, and it's just going to be very warm and dry. But then, all you fall fans, there's hope. We have a stronger cold front that's going to move through southeastern Virginia late Friday. It looks like now Friday afternoon time period, a stronger cold front pushes through. We have this push of cooler air as the expansive ridge finally breaks down across the east. And we also, this is a secondary side note, but very important still, much needed rain will move in with the frontal passage, and let's keep our fingers crossed for that because we do need some rain. Parts of Virginia have now moved into more of a moderate drought status. And then we're looking at a beautiful looking first weekend of October. Next weekend, Saturday, Sunday, 5 and 6 October, high pressure, dry conditions, highs in the 70s with lows in the upper 50s. Beautiful, beautiful fall weather. So again, if you want to get out there and go to those fall festivals, maybe you want to go up to Busch Gardens and go to Hollow Stream. Maybe you want to go visit some of the local farms with corn mazes. Just a lot of fun. Get out there, enjoy that beautiful weather. A stretch of above normal temperatures may again return, however, 7 to 11 October as we have a more progressive pattern. What do I mean by progressive? I mean that the systems are moving fairly quickly from west to east. We're not looking at anything stagnant or any kind of locked in pattern, but we will have an upper level ridge with increasing upper level heights moving east into the eastern U.S. between 7 and 11 October. And those upper level heights, if they increase, that means we have some warming temperatures, and another ridge is going to push through the area across the eastern U.S. And then that's going to be followed by another strong cold front, and again, some much needed rain around the 12th of October. That's going to usher in some of the coolest air of the season so far. That's the way things look right now. Again, we'll keep a close eye on things. And this is, if you like what you see and you really enjoy it, I want to send a shout out to all of you out there. Thank you so much for subscribing to our Spot on Weather YouTube channel. We released the winter weather outlook. It's usually one of our more popular viewing products. And I tell you what, I really, really want to send a big thank you to all you out there. A very heartfelt thank you for subscribing to the channel. I've noticed an increase in our subscriber numbers, and I really, really greatly appreciate it. We do this because we love to share the weather with you. And that's really what it's all about. We're always following the weather, and I just love to get this message out to you so you can make plans accordingly. This is where to find us on social media. We are on Twitter, we're on Facebook, and we're on Instagram. I do a lot of my forecast updates on Facebook as well as Twitter. And then I also post those weather forecast updates and blogs to the Spot on Weather Weebly website. So take a look at this. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, our website, Spot on Weather Weebly website. You're going to love that website. If you really love the weather, we have a great photo gallery. I'm telling you, check it out. Some memorable weather events in pictures, via pictures in Southeast Virginia. Need more weather updates in your neighborhood? Subscribe to us here on the YouTube Spot on Weather YouTube channel, or find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or go to our website, absolutely free. Take a look at what we put together there. All right, that wraps things up. Spot on Weather. I really hope you enjoyed this forecast update as we get ready to head into the month of October. The days are getting shorter. The amount of daylight hours are decreasing. The solar radiation levels are decreasing. The sun is getting lower on the horizon. And so we're going to be heading into, I just love this time of year, where we get this transition into cooler temperatures, and everybody's ready for it after the very humid, warm summer that we had. All right, that wraps it up. Spot on Weather. If we're not spot on, we're not doing it right. Keep an eye out for us for the latest updates. Take care, everybody. Have a great Sunday.